This show is for you if you've done the work. You've learned your triggers, read the books, maybe even prayed through it, but your body still reacts before you can stop it. I'm your host, Edna White, and this is Keeping It Real on Purpose. Today, I'm joined by Mark Fox. Mark is a wellness innovator and a thought leader at the intersection of science, technology, and holistic health. He develops non-invasive therapeutic approaches designed to support pain relief, reduce anxiety, and improve overall well-being. What I appreciate about Mark's work is that he translates complex science into something people can actually use daily life. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So let's just let the audience know who you are, what you do, and we can get into the juicy parts.
Okay, I've done a lot of different things I used to be a rocket scientist. I was a chief engineer on the
Oh,
space
wow.
shuttle program for a number of years. And I've owned a women's clothing company, part of it. I've started about 10 or 12 different companies that didn't make it for usually marketing reasons because you can't afford to make enough noise. But I got into energy therapy. I never planned to, but my dog about 28 years ago, she couldn't come up the stairs.
Wow.
And we had her x-ray and she had severe arthritis in her spine. And so a friend of mine who was a veterinarian in Houston said, there's this magic machine that can actually reverse arthritis. I'm like, well, I don't really believe that. You know, I'm a skeptic and a rocket scientist, but it was my dog. So I looked into it and sure enough, this technology exists. And so that's how I learned about it initially.
Mhm.
And then a number of things just happened from there as I saw what it could do for PTSD, and it actually made me very angry that it was super hard. It was too expensive and it was too scattered around the country being held hostage in like a clinical environment when we had the 44 suicides a day, you know, with military veterans and first responders. I'm like, this is awful. So I decided I'm going to try and I'm a chemical engineer as my undergraduate. I'm not an electrical
Mhm.
engineer, but I'm just going to go build a device that's affordable and simple. And I thought it would be easy. It wasn't that easy, but we have it now. So that's kind of the path of how I got to it.
Okay. It sounds like you did a lot. And you said something, why it was, you didn't understand why it was being held hostage behind something. Can you explain that?
Yeah, but just because there are very 15,000, 20,000 hour machines being held
Mhm.
hostage in clinical environments. So there's only a handful of practitioners around the country that had this
Gotcha.
technology because it was so expensive for the most part.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
yeah, that's like, it's not that complicated, or it shouldn't be. There's got to be a way to
Right,
build a device that's easier. So
right. Gotcha. So a lot of people are listening to understand themselves now. They know why they react, but the reaction still happens. Why does the body respond before the mind can intervene?
that's a very good question. But I mean, a lot of it is fight or flight and tigers coming after you in your cave, right? So you
Yeah.
don't have time to think through what, next steps are. You run, right? Your
Hmm.
brain takes over the fight or flight system, which is your vagus nerve, right? That is,
Yeah.
if it's imbalanced, you're not in a constant fight or flight, right? You got rest and digest and you have fight or flight. But your vagus nerve, at least especially now in 2026 in the environment, our bodies weren't designed for this. They were designed 10,000 years ago plus, right? For cavemen type things that
Yeah.
gather food and survive. They're not
Hmm.
designed for 10,000 micro threats a day, right? Of a text and a phone and an alarm call and this thing, you know, I get shamed on Facebook, all those things. And we're not designed
Right.
for that. So, but your body's reacting to it because it's using an old primitive system is the right answer.
Well, that's good. Primitive system. Ooh, that's really good.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
how
it's
do you
still
intervene? So how do you intervene in that case?
you come up with energy therapy technologies like this. I mean,
Like
obviously,
you did.
so energy therapy, so it's called PEMF, pulse electromagnetic fields, which sounds really
Okay.
fancy, but it's not. It's the Earth's heartbeat. So you're surrounded in it right now. If you turn on
Okay.
your phone, look at an app, you would see it on your phone. So it is the actual Earth's heartbeat at 7.83 hertz. So that is, there's nothing surprising about that. But the way I like to explain it is nothing in the world happens without an energy exchange. So you don't breathe oxygen, you don't digest food, you don't drive your car, you don't make s'mores on a campfire, you don't cook food, right? You don't fall down and hurt yourself without an energy exchange. So what these devices are, and a lot of people are used to like a TENS unit. So, you know, you put pads on you, and that's an electrical current to transfer energy. PEMF is going to be a magnetic field. It could be light, sound, or vibration as well. So there's 5 ways to transfer energy. PEMF is just what I chose as the most convenient because you can put it in your pocket and forget it's there. You're not tied to wires or laying on a mat or anything like that. Now, energy transfer, everyone understands. Every single person's been sunburned, right? That's an energy transfer of light and energy. So that's what it is. It's transferring energy to the body. What it actually does is controversial, except for a couple things. So we do know that the cells in your body have an electrical charge, just like a car battery. And when that voltage gets low, you get sick. So, and the cells don't operate effectively where they got to get nutrients into the cell and then get waste products out. So if the voltage is too low, it doesn't work very well. This has been shown to increase the voltage at the cell level, and that's been proven multiple times. So that's number 1. Number 2 is ATP, which is the main fuel that your cells use for food. This has been shown to increase ATP up to 500%. So, and that's been proven multiple times. So those 2 primary things are increasing the voltage on your cell's batteries, increasing the food supply for your cells so your body can do what it does best naturally, is heal itself. So that's the most basics on how it works. Now, when you get into more and more details and speculation, you get into a lot of rabbit holes that are hard to go prove. So I try to stay away from some of those.
Okay, all right. So someone can logically know they're safe, but physically feel danger with all this going on.
It could be either way, where mentally or physically isn't matching up with reality, right? And so, I mean, one of my most famous quotes, because I have to try to slap myself once in a while too, is Mark Twain said, right? I've been through some horrible experiences in my life, some of which actually happened, right? So if you think about that concept, is we all stress about everything in the future and this, and the 6 o'clock news is designed to scare us to death, right? To keep buying drugs and all that stuff. So your mind doesn't know the difference between, you know, a real threat and a fake one at times. And it's an interesting concept too, is we use this a lot in marketing, is in the way we write copy and stuff, is your brain is actually designed by the similar to rods and cones like in your eye, but the synapses and stuff. You're actually designed, the human brain is actually designed to imagine 100,000 times more to imagine a world that doesn't exist than the one that does. So the actual sensors that you have in your brain to look at light, sound, vibration, and things around you is 100,000 times less than the ones you have to dream of Harry Potter or make up a book or come up with something completely new or imagination. So we're designed to be imaginative creatures. And sometimes
we are. Definitely.
That imagination will get us in trouble because you're imagining things that haven't happened yet, and you get all anxiety about it. I mean, everyone knows this, right? Every single person in the world that's ever done a public speaking, you know, that whole survey is, would you rather die or be on a stage? Half the people would rather die. And it's like, what's going to happen
public speak?
I mean, what's going to happen to you? Nothing. You know, logically, nothing's going to happen on that stage. They might boo you, but so what? You know, it's like, people are so nervous when they speak, unless you do it a lot. And it's, but yeah, that's just another imaginary thing, that there is no real threat, but your brain thinks there is.
Okay. So that explains why people get exhausted trying to manage themselves all day. They think they're failing or at healing or failing at something, when really something deeper is happening to their nervous system.
The analogy that I use is your vagus nerve, right? Is supposed to be in balance, but
Right.
again, the environment we live on is like driving a car. It's basically your foot's on the accelerator and the brake at the same time. That's not how it's supposed to work. You should be on cruise control and tap the brake when you need to and accelerate a little bit when you need to. But we're overwhelmed with stimulus that, as we just talked about, can appear to be a threat when it's really not.
Right.
I mean, we've all caught ourselves doing that. It's like, why am I worried about this? Because I know the worst outcome isn't.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who's one of the top public speakers in the country, right? He has always, for 40 years or 35 years, kept his car keys in his pocket while he's on stage in case he has to run to his car and just leave, right? In case he gets so scared, at least I have an out because I already have my keys in my hand.
Right.
So, which is totally irrational, but it's
Right.
what he does that makes him feel more comfortable about getting on stage. So
Yes, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Yeah, I like that. That really. So, are you saying that awareness lives in the mind, but survival lives in the body?
say that again. I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
So awareness lives in the mind, and survival lives in the body?
I think it's out of my expertise. That league is like, I think it's just a mix, right?
Okay.
And sometimes, like we just said, sometimes one's rational and the other one's not rational,
Right.
and they compete with each other, right? Is what is the real threat here? Why am I? You know, you're walking down the road and all of a sudden you go, you see a snake and you jump back and freak out, and then you find out it's a palm tree branch, right? It wasn't a snake.
Yeah.
My brain just went, I thought I saw a snake.
Yeah.
Yes. So what you said earlier, right, is that our brains are wired to react faster than common sense, right?
Right.
Yeah. And nobody knows. You know, it's like anything else in the scientific world is you discover something new, and like 10 years later, what you discovered isn't true, and then there's something new that comes along. Life's almost like a video game at multiple levels. I give you an example. So I used to teach, I'm just a dumb chemical engineer, and I used to teach the top nuclear physicists in the world at Los Alamos National Labs 4 times a year. They're the smartest guys on the planet. So when I walk in there, I know they're going to slaughter me because I don't have a PhD. So I just walk in. I don't make eye contact with them. I just have a chart behind me that says the history of physics. And I go through the history of physics in about 12 minutes that just shows how completely wrong every 10 to 20 years they are. Okay. So I turn around, I go, so based on this history, there's a 98% probability whatever you did your doctoral thesis on is wrong. And it's a waste of time. And they're all like slouched in their chairs. And I'm doing it on purpose because I have to tenderize their brains to get them to think openly because they're so confident. I'm a PhD in nuclear physics. I'm one of the smartest guys. Well, you don't know everything, even though you think you do, right? It's like it's like I tell everyone, I'm smart enough to know how dumb I am, right? It's like every time I learn something new, like, really, you can go do that? Wow, okay. You know, you just learn something new all the time.
Yes, that's good. Oh, that was a great. I was going to ask you for an example. You gave such a great example. I love that. I love the fact that you got them all like ready and they didn't even know it. That was really, really good. That was excellent. So many people feel frustrated because coping tools stop working after a while. I know for me it did. Why does willpower sometimes make symptoms worse?
I think it's what we just discussed. You're imagining stuff that's not real.
Imagine. Okay.
Imagining something that's not real. I mean, me personally, and I have to try to explain. So me with my blood pressure, I don't even have high blood pressure, but I'm on medication anyway, but it's always high in a doctor's office. And yes, it's white cone syndrome times 50, but I have some logic to it. Is like when I was in college, as soon as I graduated college, I was going into the Army, and I had my blood pressure taken. And the last day it was taken, is a very attractive nurse took my hand and put it under her armpit when she took my blood pressure. So it went like 200 over 100, right? And it's like, and I said, well, maybe it has something to do with the person taking it. I wasn't offending her, and she thought I was, and threw the clipboard down, and they sent in the old grumpy nurse, and then my blood pressure was fine. but I'd already violated the Army's rule. So I had to go into
Right.
this thing of I can't go in the Army. I have nowhere to live and blah, blah. So that was a real thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm a pilot. I fly hot air balloons and airplanes. And if you fail one of those numbers, it's like you lose your license. It's actually a whole racket because all the commercial, imagine being a Delta or American Airlines pilot. If they fail 145 over 95, either one of those numbers, they lose their license and they just lost their career, right? So literally, nobody will believe this unless they're a pilot. The doctors will actually just sit there and keep taking it until they get the number they want, right? And they'll just keep talking to them because they know they don't want to fail them because it's not a risk to them flying the airplane. It's a risk to being in the doctor's office where you can actually measure it. Here's one thing I've learned, Edna.
Yeah.
I may move to Europe just for this reason, besides Trump. Okay? Is a lot of practitioners in Europe quit taking blood pressure altogether.
Wow.
Because they're over medicating everyone when they shouldn't be.
Right? I truly believe that. Yes.
I don't really need it. So I may have to move to Spain or something.
There, yeah. I know that. I know they changed. I have bouts of cholesterol, and I know since they've noticed that it was 2 numbers below the number that they want. They want to put me on I forgot the name of it, statins, and I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. And what could I do? Pre this. So I changed your diet, nutrition, went through all of that, and still was high. But then, like the next year I went in, they lowered the numbers. So I was like, I'm in the losing end every time when you're just playing with the numbers, and if I get it lower, it's still going to be 2 points below the number that you just changed it to. So what am I going to do?
So I didn't know we were going to go down this rabbit hole, but we're for a minute. I know more about blood pressure and cholesterol than probably anyone you'll meet in your life.
Oh, okay. That
exact reason, okay? So trick question. So cholesterol, statins, and anyone could go Google statin wars on YouTube. Go look at Dr. Ken Berry's presentations on it. Is the most criminal thing, this is Mark speaking now, not medical advice. The most criminal thing ever is the statin companies and what they have done and continue to do. Right. They have what's called a run-in period. So when they did the run-in period, what they created, a term, is 35% of the people had muscle pain in the trial with statins. And then they threw them out of the study before they started the study. Okay, right. That's totally criminal. You just said they moved the number. It used to be your LDL was 129, then they moved it to, it was like 149, then 129, they moved it to 99. Yes. I've done all the research. It's like, where's the data and who says why it should go to 99? And there is no data. There's none except the drug companies. Like, we sell more drugs.
I asked that question. I asked them, where did you get this information? And they looked at me, well, this is what we studied in school. I said, but I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not fair.
Anyone else wants to do it?
I can't give you an answer.
Yeah. Go to anyone else that's listening to me, don't believe me. Go to NIH on the website and you type in LDL, blah, blah, blah. And there's a meta study that this guy did that looked at all of the studies. And the conclusion is LDL is not harmful for the vast majority of people. Do not get on statins.
Right.
There's a doctor on YouTube. If you just put in statin wars, it's a female doctor. She has a very, very good, I forget her name because it's long, but it's a very, very, very good presentation. Yeah, they keep moving the goalposts on you to have more people. And then when you look at the stats, they go, when you see in the news, there's 50% more people have high cholesterol than they did 20 years ago. No, they don't. They moved the goalpost. Right?
That's right.
They moved the goalpost.
I couldn't believe that they kept moving. And I said, because I advocate for myself a lot. I said, that number wasn't the same last year. And they were like shocked that I knew it.
Right.
And they were really thrown off by it. They were thrown. I was like, no, I'm not taking them. The first time I took them, every muscle in my body was like, was twitching. I mean, even my fingers, it was bad. And I was like, what is going on with me? And I forgot I had taken it. And I was like, oh no, I'm not taking this medicine anymore. So I was like, called him immediately, I'm not taking it. And he's like, well, we'll lower the dose. I said, oh, that sounds kind of crazy. You're going to lower the dose of the poison and then give me muscle relaxants.
No.
No.
Again, clearly I'm a rocket scientist, not me to make this clear. I'm not a doctor giving medical advice, but if anyone wants to see my summary of it, here's how sad it is. And Exact same thing happened to me. My LDL was 130. My doctor said you need to go on statins. I walked in and I said, here's a piece of paper. I've done hundreds and hundreds of hours of research on this. Please read this summary. And she did exactly. She turned her head and said, I'm not going to look at it. Why? She goes, I'm going to do what the American Medical Association recommends and nothing else. And I go, that is awful to hear that from a doctor in 2025, 2024 when this happened, right? So we'll get off this another one, but my other one was blood pressure.
Yes, we got off an tangent.
Here's the trick question I asked everyone on blood pressure. If you're any clinician,
that was a good tangent, a really good tangent. I love that. Love it.
I'll say I'm 64. What should my blood pressure be? And I know they don't know the answer because I asked. They know it's a trick question. If you're over 60, it should not be 120 over 80. It certainly shouldn't be 115 over 75. It should be 140 over 90. Now, there's a gigantic study that looks at the meta-analysis. If you want to live the longest over 60, 140 over 90 is where you should be, not 115 over 75.
Right.
And anyone else can go Google that and find those studies as well.
Yes.
And then when I tell doctors that, they go, where are you getting this from? The internet's kooky. I'm like, no, this is like published stuff that's from doctors and meta-analysis.
That's what I told them. I said, it's published things. You know, I don't just go Googling something about my health. I look for, studies. I said, no. And they're like, they even sent, I'm getting off again, but they even sent like 3 other doctors in to talk to me, like convince me, like, come on in, one after the other. And I'm like, what is this? And they were all standing around me like I was a test subject. I said, no, I'm not taking them. Now I know I'm not taking them. Because if you have to call in the army to make me do something, now I know that I'm not taking them. Absolutely not.
All right, we'll change subjects before the SUVs show up the front door and haul us away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a good tangent. I want to tell you, Mark, that was a great tangent. So let's get back on here. Let's get back to where people often try to control reactions, okay? Breathing harder, thinking harder, praying harder, whatever. And the reaction intensifies. What happens there? What is happening?
Well, breathing techniques and all those things, they work very well. There's tapping exercises, breathing techniques, of course, meditation. Just calm down for a minute, right? Just try to breathe. So deep breathing, all that stuff works. What I like about this technology is you don't have to be participating. You just stick it in your pocket, right? So it's naturally doing that. You don't have to know it's there. It's kind of like the large PEMF mats that are in chiropractors and stuff. You got to lay on the mat the whole time, right? So you're conscious. I forget that this is in my pocket half the time. I think it's my phone, and I go to grab it, and it's, oh yeah, I forgot I was even running that protocol. So the fact that I can take this on an airplane, drive a car anywhere, watch TV, that it's non-invasive, just fits in your pocket, it is. I think it's one of the huge benefits. Is it's affordable and it's accessible, and it's therapy on the go, is what it is.
Right. So share a little bit about, if you don't mind, that device that you have.
Yeah, it's called Vibe, V-I-B-E. It's the first device we came up with. It actually is a music player, okay? It's an MP3 player. It just doesn't have a speaker. So the protocols are actually MP3 files. So I wrote the protocols on a music synthesizer. I'm not a musician, but I use a music synthesizer to create them. So it's music your body can hear, but your ears can't, because there's no speaker. So yeah, that's what this device is. There's 60 protocols on it. You scroll to the one you want and you hit play, and then you just put it in your pocket or wear it with the lanyard around your neck. Or I quit telling women 3 years ago to quit putting in their bra because they do it anyway. So, or if you're a woman, you can put it in your bra.
It's easy. Listen, it's easy.
It's easy. I don't know what you guys do in the bathroom, but we have more women drop them in the toilets. Men drop it in the toilet and they just don't tell us that it happens, but women do all the time. They'll always go like, what happens if I get it wet? I go, quit dropping it in the toilet. And rice will not. They go, what are you, a psychic? I go, that's the only way it can get wet. Right?
Yes, in the toilet. Yes, that's good. Well, you've done it enough to know that's what happens.
Yeah, it's funny. I just started messing with people because they go, what are you, a psychic? I'm like, no, that's how else are you going to get it wet? And then we did have somebody last year as a lifeguard dive off the platform into the pool to rescue a kid and had it in their pocket. Okay, that's the first one that hit in a toilet. But
Right. So that was natural water.
that's natural. So this is a pendant that's a vagus nerve stimulator. You just wear it like a piece of jewelry over your heart, because the vagus nerve comes down both sides of your neck and it clusters around the heart. And most vagus nerve stimulators, you have to put 15 volts to your neck. You don't need to do that, because the vagus nerve is closest to neck, is why people do that. But you can just wear it over your heart. And we have a Blue Vibe thing that's brand new that's for cognitive impairment that puts out both PEMF and light. So this is super exciting. We have 100% success rate. And as of this morning, the chances of it being due to chance are less than 1 in a million now. Literally 1 in 1 million. It's not like exaggerating. It's that number, 7 zeros. So that's super exciting. 100% success rate. We just started selling that product, and we have other stuff, but I got to product pitch things. But yeah, it's super exciting. The cognitive impairment one, MIT's been studying it for 12, 13 years now, and they found it by accident of how 40 hertz can reverse amyloid plaque in the brain and cognitive function. So yeah, it's some super exciting, fun stories.
Yeah, that's really good. So you're telling me anxiety isn't just emotion, it's physiological. Physiological,
yes, it is.
right? Wow.
Well, anxiety.
Yeah.
So anxiety, we actually have 4 protocols in it. So there's anxiety, there's relax and balance, there's vagus nerve stimulation, and then there's PTSD. If your anxiety or anxiousness is coming from PTSD, that's probably the best one to run. But you try it. We tell people to try all 4 of them, which one works best for you. Stick with that one. And Edna, I wish it was 100% success rate. It's not. Nothing in the world is. But we're north of 90% for most protocols.
Right.
I'll just warn everyone, the lowest protocol on there is prostate. It's at about 65%. I wish it was a lot higher, because I get 75-year-old guys calling me all the time, screaming at me that it didn't work. I'm like, well, I'm being honest with you. I told you there's a 35% chance it's not going to. Right. So on average, but most people do. The number one reason it won't work is you don't use it. And there's a whole psychology thing here. Is like, it's 10 to 1 men that won't use it versus women. You guys are way more open to trying something new. I've got so many wives that bought it for their husbands, and the husband said, I'm not taking anything out of the box. I ain't touching that. Right. Because they have their mind made up that it can't actually work. I'm not going to do anything. Stuff like that. So,
and that matters when you're delving into something that's new. That matters that your mind is open to receive something like that, right?
There's in the 1970s, there was a comedian named on TV named Rich Hall, and he had a thing called sniglets. There are words that aren't in the dictionary, but they should be. And one of them was boson. Boson is bozo and ozone. So it's an invisible gas that surrounds people, that stops new ideas from getting in. So get rid of your boson. I have more Facebook haters than you could possibly imagine. I wrote an article 3 years ago called Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire. I just said, here's what we know, don't know. And the whole logic is, here's the largest scams in the world. Okay, ready? DNA sequencing, CRISPR, antibiotics, MRIs, X-rays, right? So I named 300 technologies that were 100% impossible until they weren't. Right? If you were on the Mayflower and somebody showed you that, what would you say it was? Right?
Right.
You don't know. It's like that technology. I don't know what that is. So
you would know, right?
Now, an MRI, for time, I won't explain how an MRI works, but it is in Mark's opinion, it's the most magical invention ever invented by human beings. There is so much magic involved in an MRI that it can't work, but we do 1 million of them a year in the United States, and nobody questions the picture when you go, yep, that's my lung. Right? It's like, well, how did you make that picture? Because you have to have so many levels of magic that, okay, you want me to give you the 45-second version of the magic?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the protons in your body have north and south pole, and they're all random. Okay. Trillions and trillions of them, like the Earth. You put somebody in an MRI, you hit them with 50,000 Gauss. This is 9 to put it in perspective. 50,000 Gauss is a huge magnetic field. It makes all those protons line up like a laser. Then you literally take AM and FM radio, 103.5 FM, and you hit them with FM, and it's a different frequency for each thing you want to look at. The heart's different than the lungs. Then you turn the magnetic field off, and you turn off the radio frequency. And when your protons snap back to randomness, your body spits out energy, and it's captured on a thing called a Fourier transform. That's how you make an MRI photograph. Are you still there? Looks like we may have cut us off at 30 minutes.
I'm still here. Don't worry. Go. Keep going. Keep going.
I got cut off there or something. Did I go through
No. Go. Keep going. I got you.
Okay. Well, I'm done. That's how it works. So it's like, but there's so many levels of magic there. Like I said, is if that's actually true and it happens and we use it every day, how can you not be open-minded to some of this other technology? It just, right. Okay. Good example. I didn't know what ChatGPT was 8 months ago, and I use it 30 times a day now. In my business, I use it so much to go do stuff and analysis. And that is magical. That would have cost $100,000 a month 5 years ago, right? And now we're getting it for
You're right about that.
Yes,
you are so right.
And nobody can imagine what that's going to look like in 10 years. I can't.
I keep thinking the same thing, Mark. I keep thinking, he's like, how is this going to look in like 30 years? It's going to be crazy. It's going to be like a lot of things I used to do. I know we're going on another tangent, Mark. A lot of things I used to do. It's not even emails. I'm talking like culminating things together, like sheets, putting together and all that. Done in I mean, I can't even believe it. It's like done in like a split second. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Unbelievable. Just like this clinical trial that we're doing, to do all the statistical analysis I used to have to do on my calculator, on my Hewlett Packard calculator. I now just drag the Google Sheets and the ChatGPT and go, what's the answer?
Right. That's what I do too. What's the answer? That's all I care about. What's the answer? Right. And just correlating things together, it's just such a time, it doesn't waste any time. Usually I'm pondering over things and trying to figure things out, putting nothing. It's just, what's the answer to this, and put it together. That's it. So good. So good. But it doesn't take away from our creativity and your ingenuity. So that's really great. That's good too. I
think it amplifies. I mean, people are so worried about it. And everyone goes, is the technology going to take away jobs? That's been the argument for 1,000 years. Is this new technology going to take away my job? No, it creates other ones, right? And it does. It's like, there's this one that's similar to it. This is a hilarious chart that I have. It's a PowerPoint slide that shows, it's talking about kids. And it says, the kids today are so worthless, blah, blah, blah. And there's just 100 versions of that. And then it shows the date next to it. It goes back to like 900 BC. Like 900 BC. Of just everyone's got the same thing because the kids are like, no, it's just the time has changed and it's a different shape and format of it, but it's the same. It's always been like that.
That's really cool. So let's jump back on, audience. I know we got off on tangents, but it's so relevant. Believe me. So we want to talk about what actually helps. So if someone realizes their body is reacting automatically, what's the first real sign it's beginning to calm down?
I'm going to answer this answer you're not going to expect. The cheapest, simplest litmus test to see if it's making a difference is, what does your family and friends say about you? Right? Yes. Does your wife not want a divorce anymore? Do your kids want to hang out with you now? Are you getting invited to the barbecue, which you haven't been to for 3 years?
Oh, that's good.
So that's going to be the best one. You got your own, of course, objective. I mean, the gold standard in pain is still to walk into the office and you get a 0 to 10, right? 0 is happy, 10 is crying. Right. You came in with an 8 and you self-reported as a 3. Other things like this Careo watch, our new watch, heart rate variability. If I had to measure any biomarkers, the simplest ones are going to be sleep, because I don't care what ailment you have. If you're getting more sleep, more REM, more restful sleep, that means your body is reacting in a positive way.
Gotcha.
Secondly is heart rate variability. And now, like this watches, you have an easy way to measure it. And most people aren't familiar with it, your heart rate, you want to come down, but your heart rate variability, you want to go up. The more heart rate variability, the higher it is, the more responsive your system is to fight or flight and staying balanced. So sleep, heart rate variability, and then your family and friends.
Got it.
We've had multiple times where the teacher will call the parents and go, hey, Johnny has ADHD, as you know, obviously, he's your kid. What meds did you change on him? Because he's acting way better. And the answer is, we didn't change his meds. We started using this thingy, right? So those type of things, insulin resistance, you can see the blood sugar come down. I was just talking to a guy 5 minutes before this call, across the street, neighbor of mine for 50 years. His friend he gave it to for a guy that has asthma, and he goes, it's like disappeared. And it will do that with a lot of people for asthma. In fact, here's a good example is my friend called me up and he goes, oh my God, I have not breathed this well since I was 17. This thing really works. I go, are you just now using it, you idiot? He goes, yeah, why? Like, I gave it to you 3 months ago, right? So that's pretty typical. The guy had it for 3 months. A friend of mine, I gave him one. And he just didn't use it until the night before he called me at the airport. So they won't work if you don't use them. That's the number one reason they don't.
Wow, that's funny. Why is trying to heal completely alone so difficult for the body?
I don't think it is.
Ah,
I don't think
do
it.
tell.
Yeah, I might just. If you're reasonably healthy, I think the body does. I mean, I think it's the opposite. It's amazing what it can do. Right? I'm surprised you're trying to cut yourself. You don't bleed out and die. That the biology of things and go coagulate and do all the magical things everything does. I mean, the body's pretty unbelievably resilient to want to stay alive and want to fix itself.
Right.
I wasn't
That's good.
never been asked that question, but I mean, I'm not a doctor either. But no, I think it's amazing what it can do. Right? I mean,
Right. That's a great answer. Great answer. I like that. So most people think healing means their reactions stop immediately. They want to complete healing next day, maybe. But what I'm hearing is healing means your body learns it doesn't have to protect you the same way anymore. Thus, the what you created makes it feel safe, right?
No, the technology doesn't work that way. It is because it's very specific. Let me back up. The frequencies are frequency pairs.
Okay.
And so picture like a chord on a guitar. Protocols are songs. So the chords are going to change every 1 to 4 minutes. So every single protocol is different.
Okay.
Roughly speaking, this is oversimplifying. Frequency A is where is it, and B is what's wrong with it. So it could be inflammation in the medulla. Now, where this technology came from, Carnegie and Rockefeller screwed it up in 1934 because they figured out that I can make drugs out of oil. So, and they own the medical landscape. So they said, if you're doing any kind of electrical stimulation, you're going to lose your funding and your licenses. And so America stopped doing all this for decades. The rest of the world did not. So, and if from a common sense point of view, your body is chemical, structural, bones, and electrical. And to ignore the electrical piece of it is impossible to treat a body correctly because you're not looking at all three aspects, right? So there's that, and then a lot of trial and error. And if you just picture a pickup band in a garage, right? And the analogy I use is the Bee Gees. There's a great YouTube clip. The Bee Gees created 150 songs or something before they had a hit, right? So they trial and error.
Right.
Why does 40 hertz and 116 hertz do this exact thing? Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
And I stay away from that because I just want to stay at the higher level of ATP and voltage at the cellular level, because you'll never be able to prove that. Here's what happens, Edna, with doctors. They get so angry and they're like, what's the mechanism action? I need to know exactly how it's working. I go, timeout. You do not know how aspirin works. Aspirin's been around for 3,000 years. You still don't know how it works. You have a theory, but you can't prove it. And you can't prove how any drug in the world works. None.
Right.
All theories. So my logic is relief before reason. You don't need to understand those details. Then you'll get this, but doctors do not. I trick them. I go, so do you have a microwave oven in your house? And of course, the answer is yes. It's like, have you ever heated a slice of pizza in there? Yes.
Yes.
Well, how does it heat the food? And they go, now they know it's a trick question from a rocket scientist. Right. So they go, it kind of bounces around, does some energy thing. And they're like, okay. The theory is the rotational energy of a water molecule. You're hitting it with exact frequency to make a water molecule spin on its own axis, like a wheel. And that friction is what's causing heat. Nobody in the world has ever photographed or videotaped a spinning water molecule. Never. There's no technology to see that. And so it's still a theory because nobody has ever proven a water molecule spins on its own axis.
Wow. But
we all eat pizza and we live with it. So forget the exact mechanism because it's pointless to go beat. And this has come from a rocket scientist. I actually don't care about the technology of how it actually works. When I get in arguments about placebo, when somebody's suicidal, Edna, and now they're not because of this technology, I don't care if it's 100% placebo. Right. I know it's not, but even if it is, that person's still with us instead of committing suicide. So
that's right. Awesome. So Mark, how can the audience find you and tell us what you have new coming up on the horizon?
Resona, RESONA .health. It's not a .com, so it's short for resonance. It's easier to say Resona, RESONA .health. The Blue Vibe that we just came out with is super exciting. The one we're doing the clinical trials now for cognitive impairment. I have it for sale. But honestly, I got 50 of them sitting over here. They're going to be gone in a couple of days, and we have another shipment coming in April. I dream about putting myself out of business multiple ways. One is I'd love to be able to say, hey, Alexa, run dementia in the living room and have it come through the lights. Now, the smart bulbs, the billions of small smart bulbs out there, I already have this technology. If somebody at Philips would call me back, because I have to just run the MP3 through Alexa through the light. So the light flickers at the right thing, but I have to be able to turn the light off 1,000 times in a second or up to 1,000 times. And there's a bridge that's in the light. When you turn your light bulb on, when you click the switch in the wall, the light doesn't just come on. It ramps up slowly, so it's easier on the human eye. It takes a couple of milliseconds, right? The other dream I have is almost all phones now have a Qi coil in them that you charge it, right? So I put out a contest for $25,000 to the winners. Figure out how to hack the phone OS system so I can run the MP3 out the coil. And now I just put myself out of business and I just have an app that turns every phone into a Vibe. And everyone tells me it can't be done. And I'm like, I just haven't found the right person yet.
Yep, exactly. That is great. That is great news. So audience, know where to find him and his products, which is going to be amazing. Mark, thank you for being here and helping us to make sense of something people live with every day, but rarely understand. And to everyone listening, healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about helping your body realize you survived. Right. And I'm Edna White, and my esteemed guest, Mark. We are saying goodbye for now.
Thank you so much for having me.